So, first, thank you for being here today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
And tell me about your first eye exam and when you decided that you needed some vision correction and how that worked out.
So my first eye exam was, I'm sure I had many eye exams before 12, but when I was 12 years old, I had gone to the optometrist and we noticed that my vision had changed slightly, and it was just enough to not be able to see as well from far, and that was definitely going to affect my gymnastics, and especially in the future. And glasses was not quite the option because in gymnastics you fall a lot, they may fall off, and you just don't want to worry about them. So he had recommended dailies. He gave me a sample pair, which I had used the next day, and I absolutely loved them. I caught my first release move the day after because I could see the bar, so that was really neat.
So that reinforced that you made the right decision. So you never considered glasses at all just because of what you're doing?
Yes, and he's definitely a trusted doctor of mine, and so if he said, you know, dailies, then I was like, okay. I had never tried contacts before, and even just starting with them, you don't realize that they're in your eye, and they just feel so comfortable, and even when I'm sprinting, they don't dry out, which is very important to me.
Absolutely. So did you ever consider another modality besides daily wear or daily disposables?
I did not, just because when I had used dailies, I didn't realize that anything was in my eye. As soon as they were in, within 2 minutes, I forgot that I had put them in. And it was just as if I was going about my day with perfect vision. And so having just no effect whatsoever, having nothing to bother me, there was no reason to change. And I just felt that they were the most comfortable and most compatible for the sport that I was doing.
Absolutely. So you just mentioned that you got your first release move after you had them, so that leads into my next question about how did having on-eye vision correction affect your gymnastic performance outside of that?
Yeah, I think, well, outside of that situation, I think it just helped little things, which eventually made the bigger picture a lot easier to handle. When we're running down the vault runway, you have to be able to see the measuring tape that's on the side. And when you're running, you have to be able to see the tape that's on the ground so you know when to hurdle and when to put your hands down. And it really wasn't until a split second before that, without contacts, that I could see that line. And so it was just making sure that I was able to see all these things that I didn't realize I was missing out on before, and it absolutely helped.
Oh, I bet it did. Now you could see things a little more, you could see them sooner, and you knew exactly where you were going, so it absolutely helped. And absolutely. So you noticed a difference in your performance then?
I did, yeah, just because I didn't realize what I was missing out before, and then if it wasn't for going and getting a checkup at the optometrist, then I wouldn't have known that my vision was getting a little bit worse. And so it was just making sure that I was taking care of myself, and I was going to make sure that I was healthy before doing anything else.
So after you caught that release move, after you saw your performance was enhanced when you were wearing these contact lenses, did you tell everybody at your gym, everybody on your team, like, people, this is what I'm doing, you need to go and get your eyes checked?
Actually, I giggled because I'm pretty sure I came into practice late that day because of going to the optometrist. Mm-hmm. And so when I came into practice, they were like, oh, how'd it go? And I was like, oh, I'm wearing contacts. And everybody just giggled, and I ended up catching that release move, and everybody joked and said, oh, it must be the contacts. And a lot of girls, not necessarily in my gym, but I know a lot of gymnasts who have turned to wear contacts while they're performing, just because it's just the best way to go.
You're absolutely right. It is a good choice for sports. So that's awesome that you are now inspiring some other kids to do that as well. So I have a more technical question. So I am not a gymnast, but I think I know the name of what you use on your hands. Is that rosin?
Like chalk?
Yeah. Is
it
chalk?
Chalk.
So have you ever had any problems with any particles or dust flying around with your with wearing the lenses, and how do you handle that?
Yes, but it happens to all gymnasts, so it's not necessarily like a fault in the contact. It's just,
of course,
it's part of the sport. Every girl, eventually, if you're swinging on bars and there's particles of dust everywhere, you're probably going to get it into your eye. And so it does happen, but I think it's actually easier for us to get it out of our eyes, because all you have to do is blink a few times and it's gone. Whereas the other girls, you kind of have to, like, sorry, but you have to pick it out to make sure that it's all the way out. So,
and you're used to touching your eye now with applying and removing a contact lens, whereas the other girls may not be.
Yeah. So I mean, it's happened before, and it can be a little bit difficult and nerve-wracking when you're mid-swing and all of a sudden you realize, like, you can't see because there's chalk in the one eye. But I mean, it's something that every gymnast has to deal with, but I think, having contacts definitely makes it better.
So how important is vision then to gymnastics? You may have addressed this already, but are there, not just with the vault, but anywhere else, do you find that you have more of, I don't want to say an edge because of having better vision, but are you finding that it's just helping you?
Absolutely. I think, well, it's important to make sure that every athlete and every person is going to the optometrist once a year just to make sure that nothing changes, because all my teammates who, they have good vision, they're just kind of going about their day, but I didn't realize that I had an issue with my vision until I went to the optometrist. So being able to see how I should be seeing, it made the sport a lot more enjoyable.
And so obviously you've been back for a couple of more visits. Have you had a prescription change?
I have. I have, yes. It's definitely from being on my phone too much. But don't tell the kids. But yes, I have had a vision change, and I'm grateful that I can go to the optometrist and get that checkup, because then they can decide what's best for me and what's best for my eyes and for my sport.
Do you have a pair of backup glasses that you wear as well?
I do have a pair of backup.
Good, I'm glad.
I do have a pair of backup glasses. I always travel with them just in case of emergency. But I also, another thing that I really like about contacts is how small the case that they come in with is. They're very small, and I had gone to a trip to Puerto Rico with my mom, and we realized that I left my case of contacts that I usually bring with me at home, but I always stick extra sets of contacts in all my travel bags. Yeah. And we found a set of my contacts in my makeup bag, and because they're so small, they didn't take up any room, and they saved me. So it was good. I was like, that's good.
Excellent. Well, those are all the questions that I have. It sounds like you are a very successful contact lens wearer, and I thank you for taking the time.
Thank you so much.